Hey guys, what's up? It's Cinema Nerd, and today I will be talking about something that is really important and very serious. I'm also going to give a little disclaimer. Don't send hate to anybody that I mention in this video. This is just simply meant to educate on an important subject. Without further ado, let's get into it. I'm mainly going to be talking about Toddlers and Tiaras today, and the sexualization of minors in mainstream media. Now, Toddlers and Tiaras is a very problematic show, and I have only heard about it for its toxicity, not really for its its quality. And honestly, in my opinion, I feel like if TLC did a show where it took us through the lives of beauty pageant contestants that were of age, that were adults, I don't think there'd be a lot of issues. It'd be kind of like a fun sneak peek into the beauty pageant industry. However, the fact that these are literal toddlers, it is quite concerning to me. And the main thing that concerns me about the TV show is the fact that they are so young and that they are put in these very, I wouldn't say adult situations, but I'd say They are put in adult situations. They're being judged on their smile, on their walk, and some of these children are 2 years old even. I mean, toddlers, in my opinion, kids should get to be kids. They shouldn't, just go up on a stage, wear a bunch of makeup. I feel like they should get to have fun with their friends. And if the child wants to do the beauty pageant, I think that's fine. However, the fact that most of the children don't even really know what's going on really just makes the show, in my opinion, just kind of toxic. Another thing I wanted to mention is that since these are children being broadcasted on live television, you never know who is behind that screen. And some people do this show for exposure. They want to get a modeling agency, or they want to get an agent for acting, and I think that's fine. However, you never know the intentions. They could be sinister or they could be nice behind the screen, but you just never know. And I feel like subjecting your child to that is it's just easier for the bad people to find the kid, which really makes me upset. And that's one of the reasons why I just don't like Toddlers and Tiaras, why I think the show itself, I disagree with the whole idea of the show. I just really don't like it, and I think that they shouldn't be subjecting children to an industry that is pretty toxic, and then on live TV itself, I don't agree with it at all. Another thing I wanted to mention about Toddlers and Tiaras are that these days, I kind of feel like kids can't always be kids. Before, I guess, I don't know, in the 90s, I feel like in 2000s, kids could be kids, but now it's adults sometimes act like children, and children sometimes act like adults. So we're put on these adult standards, and with standards also comes responsibilities. And when you're putting a toddler at a beauty pageant, and they are sexualizing children in some of these outfits, I just feel that is very wrong to do, especially since Toddlers and Tiaras is a part of mainstream media. Sexualizing children should not be the goal, and I don't think it's the goal of the show, but it definitely is something that has happened in the show a couple times, and in a lot of the episodes it has. I'm going to name a few examples of it. Basically, there's a contestant by the name of Paisley Dickey, and her mother dressed her up as Julia Roberts' character from Pretty Woman. For those who don't know, Pretty Woman is a movie about Julia Roberts' character. I forgot the name, but she was a prostitute, and she fell in love with this rich man, and she changed. That's what the movie's all about. But basically, she dressed her daughter up as a prostitute, which I don't agree with whatsoever. I think it's really screwed up. Another person that also kind of dressed their child scandalously was the mother of Maddie Jackson, and she dressed her daughter up as Dolly Parton during a contest. Now, here's the thing. I kind of feel like Dolly Parton, it could just be me because I really like Dolly Parton's music. I'm a huge Dolly fan, but a problem that I have is, if you're gonna dress your child up as Dolly Parton, you could do it in a non-sexualized way. You could do it in a way where it's okay, let's put you a little cowgirl hat, let's get you some nails, let's get you a little guitar. I think that would be cute. However, the fact that the mom went about it by just putting a bunch of curves in places and padding, I just feel like that's sexualizing your child, not just for the judges to see, but for the whole world to see. And that is a big problem that we need to fix, man. I'm sorry, I'm getting fired. I'm getting fired up, man. Another thing that kind of gets on my nerves about the whole Toddlers and Tiaras, besides sexualizing the children, are the parents that do very toxic things towards their kids, which I think is wrong, and I'm going to get into a couple of those situations. Now, I just want to put a disclaimer, don't send hate to the parents that I'm going to be talking about. They don't need this hate, okay? Thank you. Honey Boo Boo's mom is the person I'm going to be talking about today. Honey Boo Boo's mom gave her something called go-go juice, which is basically a mix of Mountain Dew and Red Bull before she would go on to beauty pageants, and before she would go on the shows, she'd give her Mountain Dew and Red Bull to give her a bunch of energy. Which, here's the thing. I kind of feel... Sorry, I'm going to set my little notebook down. I took notes on this. I was a musical theater kid, so I was used to, like, stage performances and, waiting to go out on stage and waiting to go behind scenes. And I don't think there's a problem with feeding your kid food behind the scenes. However, it's Mountain Dew and Red Bull. Mountain Dew is a very sugary drink, and Red Bull is an adult energy drink. And those mixed together to give to a child who's very, very young, I just think that's a little concerning. Another thing that Mama June also gave her child before she found out about the whole go-go juice thing was she would give her pixie sticks. Now, in the pageant industry, I did some research. It's not uncommon to give your kids pixie sticks, maybe like 1 or 2 pixie sticks. And for those who don't know what pixie sticks are, they're basically just sugar that's like flavored sugar. So they're all energized up, like the Energizer Bunny, before they go on stage. However, she wouldn't just give her 1 or 2. It turns out that one time she actually went through 15 bags of pixie sticks. 15 bags. I don't know. She gave her 15 bags of pixie sticks in one pageant, which I just don't understand. I mean, maybe if you put like 1 pixie stick in each bag, but still, that's 15 pixie sticks. That was just really concerning to me. It set off some red flags. Another thing I wanted to talk about, I know that a lot of these parents say, well, I just do pageants because my kids want to. And there's something kind of interesting about that. When you're 3 years old, you probably don't know how to spell half the words in the human language. You probably don't barely know how to speak. So to say, yeah, I want to do a beauty pageant, Mom, I just feel like the complexity of the situation, your brain is just developing in its early stages to where you don't understand what you're really doing. Another thing that happened, a small study in 2005 compared a group of child pageant contestants with women who hadn't contested in any beauty pageants, and the child beauty pageant contestants were dissatisfied with their bodies, had a limited impulse control, and suffered from trust issues, compared to the group that compared to the group that hadn't competed, they did a lot much better with that whole testing. They didn't have as many trust issues, they weren't that impulsive, so you see the psychological effects that it has. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that with the whole putting your child out there for everybody to see thing, I just think that that's very toxic. And also, I'm going to insert a clip of Christy from Dance Moms talking, because this is how I basically feel about this.
Daughters to be up there dressed like that. They look like prostitutes.
So yeah, also, by the way, a psychotherapist, Dr. Nancy Irwin, is a Los Angeles-based psychotherapist, and she believes that these beauty pageants make contestants easy targets to be preyed upon, which I couldn't agree with you more. I think that, personally, if it's, a locally held beauty pageant, in my opinion, it's a natural, because there are natural beauty pageants, which I think are great, but if it's a locally held, big makeup, big hair beauty pageant, I don't find that big of an issue if it's just family and friends. However, when it's a televised show showing 2-year-olds getting spray tans in swimsuits, that is where I draw the line, and that is where I say, no, enough is enough. Please quit doing this. And that is a problem that I've had with this show for a while. Another thing I wanted to say about the parents of this show, it's not only Honey Boo Boo's mom who does some kind of outrageous things with her child. Another mom of Alaska Matthews, who was a contestant on Toddlers and Tiaras, Lori Matthews, actually bleached her daughter's teeth. And no, nobody found anything wrong with that. And she also decided, okay, I'll just push a little bit more. She decided to bleach her daughter's eyelashes. How, dude, I'm sorry. I think here's the thing. I personally think if bleaching somebody's hair, I think like if you bleach somebody's hair, to dye it a color, I think that's fine. I wouldn't say doing it super young though, especially not toddlers. But maybe you're 10, you're 12, you want to bleach your hair, you want to dye your hair, that's fine. But it's an eyelash. It's your eyelashes. Those are things that don't grow as much as your hair does. And also, in the interview, Lori's daughter said that it did burn her eyes. So that's not. I don't understand it. I really don't. Another thing that I definitely agree with, I agree with this lady, Professor Martina Cartwright kind of told people, she did some research on Toddlers and Tiaras, and she said that the parents are she coined the term princess by proxy, which basically is something that a lot of the parents have on the show, and it's basically an advanced version of proxy distortion, which means the parents are mainly driven by the social and financial gains achieved by their children, and they're living vicariously through them, which I think is really sad because, one, that means the parents have their own issues, but also the children never really get to grow up. They just get to be their parents or their moms or their dads, like a little variation of themselves, which, I mean, I don't understand. I feel like kids should get to be kids and have fun and to go swimming and play outside and or play video games with their friends. I feel like they should get to have more of a social life and get to enjoy their life and then decide, okay, maybe I do want to do pageants when they get older and not just be forced upon it because they're so young they can't even consent to doing a pageant. That's my own personal opinion. And that, I believe, is a huge problem with the toddlers and tiaras and the sexualization of minors in mainstream media. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble on. And just thank you for listening. I hope that you make your own informed decision on this. And thank you. Peace out.